Justin, it's that time of the year again, end of the year. We were waiting for the big rush of tourists down to the Hibiscus Coast. Ugu Tourism, are you ready?
Well, I think we are as best we can. You know, you can always mitigate against all sorts of eventualities, and invariably you get caught with your pants shorts somewhere along the line. But we've certainly been engaging with our colleagues in the municipalities to ensure that they do their best to try and make sure that we present our beachfront areas and our use facilities and our public areas in as good a way as possible. But thankfully, and thanks to organisations like yourselves and the print media and also radio media down the South Coast, we have embarked on a program to try and really have our visitors and our residents to, should we say, conduct ourselves in a way that is friendly, hospitable, and also being very respectful of our environment, i.e. the natural environment, our beaches, make sure that we pick up our litters, etc., and also, should we say, be considerate of our fellow visitor and our fellow resident, so that we can have, should we say, a peaceful type of Christmas holiday, because as you know, it can get very, very congested. In addition, we believe it's important that they also pay heed to what the authorities, the law enforcement officers have to do. They're not doing it there for love of money. They're under a lot of stress and strain at this time of the year. So we really ask people that are here to, if they've given instructions, to please, shall we say, adhere to them. And likewise, very importantly, is to really be responsible in terms of alcohol and use of motor vehicles during this time. You know, we can all have a lot of fun, but I think we do owe it to everybody that we actually just be very careful of how we do these things.
There must be a reason why you're mentioning this. Have you had problems like this in the past?
No, I think every major resort area in the world will have these type of issues, but I think we do know that there's certain pockets up and down the coast that do get congested. For example, Margate, and where there are specific events taking place. And whilst we do have what we call passive areas where people can really relax and take their families without that congestion, we know that where you get pressure of people and space, you know, you're bound to get certain sort of angst going on. So we really want to try and mitigate against that, and hopefully this little campaign through all the media entities on the South Coast will help to a degree. There are no guarantees, but certainly we're doing our best from our side to, and with our law enforcement agencies to, should we say, assist the visitor as the visitor will assist them. And I think if that relationship can be, should we say, managed properly, then I think we've got less chance of having issues. And as I say, most destinations, be it Cape Town or wherever, you will always have these sort of things.
Justin, any highlights, event highlights you'd like to single out?
Well, yes, certainly. You know, we've got the summer season coming along, and if you're looking up and down the coast from Scottburgh, there's a summer season on there. We know that Wazani events have been contracted to put something like 51 event days, you know, up and down the coast with major sponsorships, specifically activity, music, entertainment. And that program is fairly extensive, and if I sit here and give them to you one by one, I think you will probably be here for the next hour. So there's been a lot of effort put into it. Certainly they're going to be peak times, specifically around about the Christmas New Year period. But it's not just beach. It's also certain hinterland events that are taking place as well, particularly in terms of the biking and the adventure sports type of stuff as well. Yeah.
We will have it on our eHouseit website, yes, you know, for people to have a look at. But Wow Zulu, tell us something about that.
Wow Zulu. We've come to an arrangement where Wow Zulu, which is a brand name which is part of what they call Africa at Night, which is a non-government organisation, and they specialise in the immersion within the cultural landscapes that we have. So they've embraced the Zulu culture, and besides having a commercial arm which is specifically geared to arts and crafts with an authenticity which I think we need. You know, I think we're sick to death of going to destinations and finding stuff that's made even as far as the way as China. We want stuff that is locally made, and this is how they operate. They find the creative people, produce the stuff, and then retail it. And we've now opened up, we will be opening from the 29th an office at Ezekoleni, almost opposite the Natal Portland Cement, at our tourism office. And in addition, they have storytelling. They give the authenticity once again to the spoken and the traditional cultures and stories that they tell around it. So it's not just passive artifacts, it's actually people telling the story. So when the visitors come along, they can really start appreciating the cultural attributes that we have here on the South Coast.
Just give us the opening date again.
29th of November. Yeah, so it's very soon.
Justin, with SEM now taking off, so to speak, ticket sales going well, golf tourism, has that taken a turn for the best?
Yes, I think so. We had a meeting 2 weeks ago with some of the major golf courses down the South Coast, and the whole idea as far as that niche is concerned, and we've got to appreciate that golf tourism is a major part of our tourism cell. And with 11 golf courses here and with the airline coming, it's an ideal marriage to have packages put together. So our first phase is to, with the golf clubs and the product owners on the south coast and in the hinterland, because we've got a golf course in Harding as well, is to see how they can create packages, drive packages, fly-in packages, accommodation, hospitality, shuttles, and then put that out. And then through SEMAIR, they will obviously market it, and then we'll do so through our initiatives in our promotion of golf tourism, which we believe should be growing far better than it perhaps has been.
Justin, you've also been to London in the recent past. Can you give us any feedback on that?
Yeah. World Travel Market, it is a huge event. I mean, the Excel Centre in the Docklands area of London is probably about 12 rugby fields of every country, every province, state, whatever the case may be within each country, promoting itself on a very competitive basis. So we were part of the South African Pavilion, and also there was a strong KwaZulu-Natal element to it, but it's very much a trade show. And I think one of the things we need to do looking forward is to make sure that when we do go and attend, or if we go and attend, we do so with those packages that I was telling you about, because people want to walk away with prices for the next year so that they can then put it out to their wholesalers or into the retail as well. But one thing that did impress me at the show was that there was a very strong element of the new information technologies that are available within tourism. And we as Ugu South Coast Tourism want to make sure that our members, and ourselves for that matter, do source the right type of technology to make sure that people are now 21st century orientated rather than just handing out the brochures that normally takes place with these shows. So that was one of them. And also what impressed me was that some countries like Turkey and even Romania and places like that, they're going very much into the tales and stories that you're finding in the rural areas. They're also going to start taking in this rural tourism thing rather than your tourism hotspots. So once again, if we're talking about our inland areas, i.e. that initiative that I spoke to you about in terms of Zulu, we want that to be very much part and parcel of it, because the international tourist wants to know the reality of the people and the history that is taking place. Golf tourism, once again, was very strong, and I came back with a lot of good ideas as far as that is concerned. And we've got to realize that we are up against it as far as golf tourism is concerned. You know, if you look at the Mediterranean countries, Turkey, the quality of their golf courses, the quality of the marketing tools they put together, we've got competition, especially because we're a long-haul destination. But we mustn't forget the fact that we are also strongly domestic, and in fact the latest statistics show that we are over 89.5% of our business is South African. It's a significant figure. So our marketing focus will still continue to be domestic, but yes, we want to try and create one-to-one relationships with the tourism trade overseas, and if necessary try and create general selling agents in various countries. We had a lot of interest from the United States, and certainly from our major market, which over 70% of our foreign market is in fact the European Union and United Kingdom. But yeah, I think there's a lot to learn as far as how countries and destinations present themselves, and perhaps we are lagging behind in that to some extent. You know, and I'm sure South African tourism and Tourism KwaZulu-Natal, and in conjunction with players like ourselves, will be looking at ways and means of getting that vibrancy to how we present ourselves overseas.
When you say we, you mean South Africa as a whole, or
yes? You know, I think if you look at some of the countries that were there, their investment in their exhibitions and their expos is substantial. And yes, we've got perhaps a budget issue there from time to time, but we've got to realize that our competitors are not, shall we say, being passive. They're really getting out there and the visuals and the presentation of their personnel and who's actually at the stands. Certainly there are elements there that I think we need to possibly address.
So if I understand you correctly, there was a deficiency there from our side.
I wouldn't say a deficiency. I think it may be budget related to some extent. I mean, Egypt, as you know, has been going through a lot of socio-political turmoil, and boy oh boy, their stand was there in its glory. It was majorly impressive, and it was huge. So I'm sure, you know, SA Tourism, you know, notes these sort of things, because the Africa Pavilion was perhaps a bit quieter than most of the others. Middle East, the Caribbean countries, and certainly the Mediterranean and Asia, for that matter, were very, very busy parts of the exhibition. So yes, Africa, and we all know Africa only gets between 2 and 3% of the total world market anyway. But still, we mustn't sit back and just say, well, let's be happy with 3%. We've got to go for a growth thing. And if it means collective marketing and collective, you know, putting together budgets that will give us that impact, I think we will go in. So, you know, I wouldn't say we have a deficiency. I just think we can learn from our competitors by being innovative and really getting that vibe and sizzle going about it.
Justin, it's still some way to go to Christmas, but is there maybe a Christmas message from Ugu?
I think on behalf of Ugu South Coast Tourism, all our residents, our people that live here, our municipalities, our media in particular. I'm sure I speak on behalf of all of us that we really hope that all and sundry have an amazing Christmas period, especially with family and friends, and have a wonderful leisurely and very active Christmas holiday, so that when they go back to wherever they come from, they feel rejuvenated, they feel as though they would want to come back here again and again. And so on behalf of all of us, we wish them a very pleasant stay during our festive season.
Thank you very much.